Let's go. Let's break down what was a very difficult loss for our LSU Tigers. Still very proud of this group. Obviously, going to play Georgia in Atlanta. Let's start off with a really good throw right here by JAYDEN. Good, quick, decisive throw to Jack Besh. Good route by Jack to sit right there in the open spot of the zone, and we pick up a first down. So, as many of you know, my film studies oftentimes get demonetized. Feel free to drop a donation, and it goes a long way in helping build this PHL channel. And, of course, we got Black Friday merch already out. I decided to extend the Black Friday sale until after the film study, so prices will go up. So, yes, obviously after that first great throw by Jack, first great catch by Jack, we get our first drop here by Kyron Lacey. Can't really put this on Kyron Lacey. Yes, he was the one that dropped it, but why is Kayshawn and Malik not in the game? This has been Malik Neighbors all year long on this 3rd and 5 comeback route. This is a failure on Cortez Hankton, Mike Denbrock, and whoever runs the personnel for the wide receivers. This is a critical play. It's 3rd and 5, and first drives of the game normally set the tone for the rest of the game for us all year. And this is just flashbacks to the 3rd and medium miss to Kayshawn for a big gain. This is a high throw. This is not a good throw. The route is absolutely perfect right here by Kyron. You still got to catch his football. Malik catches his football. Kayshawn catches his football. And it doesn't make any sense why Malik is not in the game right there. So we get to the first, 3rd down play, one of many. This is just really good offense. I give this more to good offense, them getting really heavy, really tight right here. They just did a good job washing our guys out of lanes all day, and they pick up a good first down. I don't think inside north and south runs were LSU's biggest issue, and we'll break that down throughout this film study. I've got to give JIMBO a lot of credit. This was the best offensive game plan versus us all year long. Better than Tennessee's, better than anybody's. Good job by our guys, Wingo, reading the screen pretty quickly. But even then, they just did a really good job of scheming us. They know last week versus UAB, the one thing UAB just killed us on were these delayed screens, right? Delayed tight end flips. It's how they scored their first touchdown pass with Weidman. That's exactly what they do right here. Really good design on first down, but just tight ends in the flats have just been killing us. We did a good job eventually recognizing this, so give Wingo and Roy a lot of credit reading that, and they're able to make this play, but a nice explosive play for them. Move ahead to the 2nd and 3, and honestly, this is just what they did to us all day. They did a really good job scheming Perk and deciding to run right at him. And Perk had a lot of success versus UAB, Arkansas, and a few other teams, taking the inside angle and still being able to make the play. Honestly, where most of Texas A&M's success in this game came wasn't on runs right up the middle, okay? Because if this would have been run right up the middle, Jacoby and Guillory blew this up the middle, okay? But what happens here is we just get outflanked, okay? This time, Harold Perkins decides to cut in and make a play. Achane reads it, okay? And what they did a really good job of was allowing Achane to just... You notice how this is in pistol. I love pistol runs because you don't know which way he's going to go out of pistol. They decide to run this to the left. And they also told Achane to read what the LSU defense did. What we have been doing versus a run is getting very aggressive. What they told Achane before the game is say, look, if you see some plays, open themselves up, take it. And that's exactly what he does. He sees it the middle right here is blown up right here. So all our guys are washed in, break it outside, and all he's got to do is make this player miss. And that is exactly what he does. Huge run right there by Achane, and that gets them their first tutty. Bam! I'm looking at you. Yes, you right now. So some of the plays are going to look a little grainy like this. It's because I went and ripped it from the Skycam view of the game. This was a bad miss right here by JAYDEN. And what we're doing is what worked last week versus Ole Miss. Okay, these crossers these diagonal routes. It's just a 45-degree angle route, and it puts these defenders in conflict. So you don't see it right here. So pre-snap, we are motioning Kayshawn to the right. There is a receiver here, BTJ, running a post, okay? And where this ball should have gone is this crosser across the way, and you'll see it right here. So we're showing a lot of misdirection here. Play action to the left, pull our guy. We got max protection here. And what Jayden needs to do right here is read the safety, okay? If the safety runs with Malik right here, throw the post to BTJ. The safety, it's hard to see. You see him stick his hand out. He communicates to 32, hey, you need to stay with this crosser. And the corner obviously has to stay with this deep post. The ball should have been put right over the top right here, okay? But remember, Jayden only likes to throw it if it's wide open. The good thing about this kind of route, though, is you're not having to throw the football to the receiver. You just got to throw it into this space. Throw it right here. Instead, he decides to tuck and run it where we don't have any receivers and just take 3 yards against these two guys. So second down, good job. This is just really good offense. They're in a very light box right here. They're expecting us to pass on second and long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the box. They bring this guy here at the end, but we just got to just dominate this. Good block by Charles Turner right here. Good seal. Obviously, Turner's got to play Jayden right there, and that's just running north and south. That's really good stuff. Now, John does a good job eventually falling forward, but their safeties all year, Texas A&M, have done a really good job of tackling. So good stuff. So we're going to skip a good Noah Cain run that ended up being a fumble that we recovered. We move ahead to the 2nd and 4. Really good offense again by Jayden. Once again, our comeback route receiver has been Malik. Low throw. We'll take it. First down. Good stuff. So now we get to this 3rd and 2. We broke this play down in the halftime. And this is just excellent stuff once again by Mike. Sealed this player to the inside, and we're running a sweep, okay? We stretched out these 3 players. They occupied these 2, so now we have numbers in here, okay? 7 just kind of takes himself out of the play. Miles Frazier has nobody to block, and this is just perfectly blocked. And the star for Texas A&M was McKinley Jackson. 35 made so many big plays. And that is as incredible of a tackle. I've never seen someone make an arm tackle like that. And McKinley Jackson was a guy that Ed Orgeron really wanted. And we lost out that recruiting battle. But if you don't watch later to this film study, this is a very key observation. He made the big tackle on Noah Cain in the open field. And on the very next play, it was a scoop and score fumble. If McKinley Jackson didn't make that play on second, we don't scoop and score fumble on third. Just wanted to include that. Now we get to here where this was our best block play of the night. We were just dominating everybody, okay? Get a little lucky that Shamar Turner right here decides to not sit in this gap. I don't know why he decided to go to the outside. Emory Jones did a good job, though. Once he felt him going to the outside, just seal him. Good stuff right there. And now we just need John to bang it up where Shamar Turner was, and he does just that. Good tutty, good response. Yes, Jayden missed the throw early, but we stuck with it and got a tutty. So we tie the game, right? I want you to remember this play. So, sometimes, there was so much focus on LSU and the players having a down week and Texas A&M's players playing up. I felt like Jimbo Fisher coached his best game at Texas A&M. I've watched quite a bit of Aggie football. I keep up with a lot of the SEC with my new SEC channel. By the way, please go subscribe to that. I'm just blown away how good they schemed us. Okay? So, Jimbo Fisher says, look, if you're going to play Harold Perkins as the nickel linebacker, what we're going to do is stretch him out and play him up into space. Now, why is that? Because I know if I roll my quarterback out, his natural tendency is to come downhill and make a play. When right here, he probably should have been a little bit deeper right here, okay? So either way, the fact that they stretch Perk out into passing situations was a really smart thing to do because look at all the space it generated on this rollout. This is an easy completion. Safety is playing probably too far off here, but man, Moose Muhammad was big for them, as a lot of you know. Thing here, but this time we're doing it to the left, okay? Perk obviously is not a DB. He is a linebacker. He likes to have his eyes in the backfield making plays, and this is just easy stuff. And you notice with a true freshman quarterback, even though we got, well, actually really no pressure, this ball was really poorly thrown. But if you generate that much space, it makes it that much easier to play offense. Now 3rd and goal, just excellent. Excellent defense across the way right here by LSU. And, you know, Wingo just makes this play, okay? We get a one-on-one right here, and I love that. So 3rd and goal right here. Look at this play by Wingo. He gets a one-on-one, swim move to the inside, and all this pressure with a 3-man rush and a spy. The good thing about Perk being a QB spy is it does allow our defensive linemen to be very active. Because if Weidman rolls out to the left, Perk is there to pick it up. And honestly, what I would have done LSU is just show more of this look. Because look, if Weidman forces him to miss, Perk is just coming right over the top and making the sack on a rollout. So Weidman decides to just throw this away or just throw this up. And honestly, all things considered, that was not a bad throw. But still, Wingo makes a big play and he forces a field goal. Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you. Look at Connor Weidman doing a hook 'em horns. This is why the Kyron Lacy drops were so big in this game, because Texas A&M did a good job controlling the clock. They had a lot of 2nd and 1s, 3rd and 1s conversions, and that just extends drives, right? Because on 2nd and 1s and 3rd and 1s, you're going to run it, and you're going to bleed the play clock all the way down to a full 40, and this is only our 3rd possession with 8:49 left to go, and the fact that they get the football first to start the second half, it just decreases the margin of error. This is JAYDEN's one of his best throws in the game. Sometimes if a player just spies and just plays the passing lanes, he won't throw it. This time JAYDEN throws with anticipation, okay? You see when he's throwing this ball, no hitch, no nothing. That was before this actually got fully open. Good anticipation right there. This was more great offense again by Mike Denbrock, okay? We are running a fake screen right here, and we didn't show it earlier, but they did this exact same play to Kayshawn. But this time, we are faking this screen. Okay, you notice Kayshawn does a fake to get Antonio Johnson, their best safety, to bite on this to Malik, okay? Notice also we overloaded this play to the left. So he is an ineligible receiver. So guess what? We still force somebody to account for him, all right? Good play design, all right? Now, we get the safety to go up here, and what we're running here is a post with Jure to hold this corner, and now we're hitting Kayshawn on this go, okay? JAYDEN waits for it to open up, and he throws a strike. Now, could this ball have been thrown earlier? Maybe. Could Kayshawn have kept his feet and scored? Maybe. Or could Kayshawn have worked his way back to the football and go around him right here? Maybe. But still, really good throw, really good catch, excellent play design. So fast forward to this 3rd and 6, and just to let you know, we do player grades, and one of my highest graded players was Malik Neighbors. Where was this guy to start the game running this route? Okay? Now, Kyron Lacy ran a really good route, but I want you to see how intricate this is, okay? OBJ, Jets, and the greats do this kind of release, this stutter release, okay? And what you have to do on comeback routes is sell vertical. Sell to this DB that you are going all the way upfield. And look at this. Nasty. Stop. I know he goes off screen, but look at what he did to a good DB in Jalen Jones. Jayden throws with a lot of mustard, and that ball is just perfectly thrown. Great catch, great offense, okay? All right, so we get to this 3rd and 2, and this was Jayden's best play of the night because you don't see what happened pre-snap. This was not the play design. He actually checked into this play because once Jayden saw that they were selling out to stop our run and stop our zone read, we were actually in empty. Jayden honestly audibled everything into this play. Now, he might have gotten some signal, but once he saw man coverage and once he saw all these numbers, he said, look, if we get straight man coverage, we know that if they're running 0 man, which is what they are doing right here, we know that this play, the Mason Taylor play, is going to work, okay? Give Jayden all the freaking credit in the world to check into this play. Now, I would prefer Mason Taylor be the one that runs the route because he knows how to run it, because it's not the easiest catch to make if you're not used to catching it, okay? So I know that this footage is cut off here, but Jayden did actually check into this, and this is just mastery of the quarterback position to check into this play, okay? Now, could you throw this slant right here? I mean, yes, but the receivers know that the design of this play is going to be open. Every single one of these receivers know that this play is going to work. And what you don't also see on this copy is they try, Chaparral, the corner, try to JoJo this, or banjo this, to tell someone on this side of the line of scrimmage to pick up Kyron Lacy. Obviously, he can't because these guys are locked in 0 man, all right? You just can't call a better audible right here. And, I mean, honestly, considering the circumstances, that is one of the biggest drops I've ever seen, honestly, in LSU football. Because our offense was operating really, really, really well. And, yeah, I don't know the wide receiver rotation. I don't know why that, wasn't Jack. But, yeah, now, what would have made it worse is if we didn't make this kick. I'm glad we did. I'm also glad that's as close as it can get. I'm also glad that Brian Kelly decided to kick the field goal. Now, the math tells him to go for it there. Okay, you see Gordy Rush, the sideline reporter. He's obviously not thrilled, like he's doing the I don't know what Brian Kelly's analytical math actually is. I use the 4th down bot along with some of my own calculations on whether or not to go for it. And while this play runs in the background, we're actually going to spend a lot of time on this play. The 4th down probability chart from the 4th down bot by my buddy Jared D. Lee actually showed that the math was overwhelming in favor of LSU going for the actual conversion there and not kicking the field goal. This is one of those times, though, where Brian Kelly said, look, I can't go with the math. Why? Well, because you got to consider psyche. We have a very tight emotional attachment to that play. That is our go-to play, and it didn't work. So I would have preferred kicking the field goal in that spot as well. I agree with Brian Kelly's decision there, even though the math probably told him otherwise. Now, why we're going to spend a lot of time on this play? Well, remember on the last play, or on the last drive, I said, remember this formation? Guess what? They line up in the same exact formation, but this time we should be better equipped to stop it because, well, Harold Perkins isn't on the field. We have a faster nickel player involved with this defense. And, look, I know it's clear that Ali Gay lost contained, but this is honestly Jimbo Fisher doing a really good job scouting Ali Gay and scouting our 4-down defensive lineman look. Now, remember I told you when rewatching this game, most of the plays that Texas A&M had success running the football wasn't downhill runs. It's designed runs that attack the edges. So what they decide to do is pre-snap, it is clear that they are pulling both of these players. You see how far they are off the line of scrimmage, okay? And these linebackers see that they are probably pulling a run to the left, which honestly is a strength call because the tight end is to the left. So they are pulling both of these guys, and you notice it forces our linebackers to step to the right, right? Normally when linebackers see pullers, they are taught to step to the right, okay? So these three guys are locked in. And when you play a 4-down defensive alignment, which we do quite frankly a lot of, and Harold Perkins isn't this in player, all this is a foot race to the outside. They were planning on running this versus Ali Gay because Gus Malzahn and just over the years, Missouri as well, when we have our defensive end as a contained guy in a 3-point stance, if they run a speed handoff, they get the edge every single time. I'm shocked that more teams haven't tried to do this on us, and this is just the design of this play. They have been getting this on us since 2020, to be quite honest. And all this is they are trusting A-Chain to beat Ali Gay to the outside. This guy blocks this guy, this guy blocks this guy, this guy blocks this guy. And because these guys are pulling to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys are locked in over here. And now it just saves us Joe Fouché. Fouché is the only guy that's going to be able to make this tackle because Baskerville stepped to the right. He's not going to be able to get all the way over because A-Chain is one of the fastest players in college football. And it doesn't help that our safety is backpedaling single high on this hash mark. This is an extremely difficult tackle for Joe Fouché to make, and this play, they just flat out schemed us. This is a great first down call to start the drive, and honestly, Joe Fouché, this is one of the tackles of the year right here. A-Chain makes a lot of guys miss. He had to make that tackle or else it's a tutty, and he does. So honestly, we got out-schemed so badly on that play. We gave up the least amount of yardage on that play because, honestly, A-Chain didn't make anybody miss. He just outran Ali Gay, which most running backs should be able to on a speed handoff like that. But, man, that is just such great scheme and such great scouting against some of our 4-down alignment lock-in looks. Now, we get to this 3rd and 12. On 2nd down, Jaquelin Roy did a good job not allowing Connor Weidren to pick up a first down with his legs. And this time, we get out of our pass rush lane angles. Once again, Connor Weidren picked up a first down with his legs on the last drive. Once we saw that he was doing a lot of this tucking and running when he sees 2-man under, which is what this is, okay? Kind of looks like, honestly, cover 6, right? Cover 4 on this side, cover 2, man match on this side. That's what it looks like to me. Once again, it's tough to really see, but it does look like zone coverage, man-to-man across the way. And once Connor Weidren sees that, he knows all he has to do is break this initial rush. And honestly, if we're Roy, we want Connor Weidren to try and make a big-time throw, not give him this run on 3rd and 12. And even if he's short, they're probably going to go for it on 4th, right? Just not great adjusting. We need our guys to stay in their pass rush lane angles. And LSU got screwed right here. This was a really good spot. Right here, he gave himself up. You see where the football is? It's not at the first down yardage. Now, once again, we don't have an angle right here. I don't remember if this was reviewed or not. But when you slide, actually Max made a huge mistake on a play like this as well. He should have been down once he gave himself up, and this shin on the slide right there. And they actually marked him enough for the first down. I would have liked to have made them see if they're going to pick up a 4th down, and Roy knows that he got out of his angle. But still. So, yeah, if I'm Brian Kelly in that spot, I'm forcing them to review that. Maybe they tried to, maybe they didn't, but it does become 4th and inches, and they would have to make a play or a decision right here to wrongly kick a super long field goal. I do believe they did give him the first down there, and it was funny. The announcers were bringing it up. Hey, they thought that it wasn't or a first down either. So, yeah, they did give him the first down. So it's 1st and 10 here. Yeah, very, very, very weird. We move along. It's the same play. This is just really good stuff. We're selling out to stop the run. They're killing us on the run. Good decision right here by Connor. I don't know if it was an RPO, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish guys down in this mush. Very easy decision to throw it. Baskerville did a good job getting into that passing angle. Good tackle right here by Jay Ward, but man, it was just good offense all day. And once again, good adjustment. Same thing. If you guys remember, Le'Veon Moss, the running back for the Steelers, used to run like this. Instead of just running at full speed against an aggressive defense that likes to shoot gaps, Achane, his job is to read where the gap actually is, right? And here, Harold Perkins gets washed to the inside. He once again shoots the interior gap. All they have to do is seal him, and look at this big hole. Not good technique right here by Greg Brooks coming off the edge here. Boom, once you get even right here, you got to be going back into here because you're past the play, okay? So this is what they want you to do. They want you to rip the guy forward and just shoot upfield like that. And that is just so much space. This is a very difficult tackle for Micah Baskerville to make. He's got to make it. He's been big for us all year. But because that gap was so big, it allowed Achane to make this play. But there's 1 missed tackle, 2 missed tackles, 3 stiff arms. Here comes a 4th. Bad miss right here, okay? This is a huge missed block in the back. That is very much a block in the back right there. No penalty. So that's 2 big calls for A&M. Now he makes Harold Perkins miss. And, yeah, crazy. Make a few good stops. If we stop him here, guess what? They're forcing to kick. And what does JIMBO do? Well, he calls up the play that works almost every single time. Run routes everybody this way and then leak your tight end across the field. BJ Ojulari almost made this play. So he makes this guy miss right here. And this is honestly Connor Weidren's best throw of his career. Okay? Look at this. He could have thrown this to Muhammad, but he decides to wait for this to clear out. And he actually sidearms this around BJ Ojulari. They get a roughing the passer penalty because Ojulari's hand hit that. But look at how he sidearmed this. This is pretty ridiculous, okay? Just to bend it around his arm, and look at where that ball was placed. Once again, he's wide open because he leaked, and it's a tutty. Alrighty, so a few plays on the pixelated screen here. This was Jayden's best play of the night. Once again, they out-schemed us all night. The best thing to stop a rollout is a blitz from a corner or a safety coming downhill. And honestly, there's not a whole lot Noah King could really do here. This guy is an elite athlete, Antonio Johnson. He just runs through Noah Cain. So Jayden just does something really special. He makes him miss and eventually makes him miss. And then, good job by Malik, sticking his hands up in the air saying, I'm open. Look at that throw. We get a nice play on first, and that was all Jayden Daniels. Good stuff. All right, we get to the very next play, and I think something Brian Kelly's going to really evaluate next year is why do our offensive lines play so much worse on the road than at home? This probably was Emory Jones' toughest game, and I am a big Emory Jones believer. He was my number 1 offensive player in the class of 2022. This wasn't on him at all, but it was a difficult game overall for him. Once again, the player that just dominated us was McKinley Jackson, okay? So, right here, there was no reason for this guy to split this double, okay? We need Anthony Bradford to sit really heavy and help Charles Turner on this double right here, okay? Once this guy leaves, there's no one that he has to worry about, okay? And Noah Cain is going to leak right here. We need Bradford to sit really heavy right here. Instead, we picked this up well across the way. The protection's really good, but Bradford loses this along with Charles Turner. McKinley Jackson again, okay? And we actually got away with the hold right there. Now, why was this big? Well, something would have opened up here, okay? So this safety is bailing right here, and boom, okay? Now, does Jayden make this throw right here? I don't know. I know for sure, though, he either hits that or he hits this check down right here to Noah Cain. Now, one final thing here, and I understand that it is a fad, but the only reason, okay, Jayden Daniels gets caught right here is because McKinley Jackson, remember, this is the same guy that pulled him down by just his arm, all right? This guy is strong as an ox. He grabs the shirt again, okay? And because of that, this did hold Jayden back on this throw, okay? He makes this guy miss if the undershirt isn't pulled. I don't know why someone else has not told Jayden, hey, don't do this, because this cost us his throw, okay? You notice he was short on it. Would it have been an inaccurate pass without? Probably not, because McKinley does pull him down to the ground just with that. Still, you know, that play has got to be protected better. Boom! I'm looking at you. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Power Hour LSU. Don't forget to take advantage of the Patreon where, of course, we give full game grades. Now, I am not blame the official guy, but this is the third missed call at the end of the second quarter that went against LSU. And the reason why this call becomes so big, this missed pass interference penalty, is that we actually do protect this really well. All right? The second thing is this is only our fourth possession of the half, right? And two of them ended on drops. So possessions become at a premium at this point. And also LSU's best part of the first half all year offensively have been the end of second quarter drives. And this honestly is just a really good throw by Jayden. And, you know, I know it's pixelated. That's pass interference. Jordan Gilbert from Baton Rouge runs right through there. The thing that makes this really egregious is that the flag was actually thrown, and they weren't disagreeing with this at all. Like, they know it's PI, and they overturn it. That's has to be the worst call of the season on LSU. So once again, Jayden calls a protection here, okay? He puts John Emery. I kind of cut it off. He told John Emery pick up this blitzer right here. And he actually calls, once again, a perfect protection call. And Brian Kelly brought this up in the post-game press conference. Just a really bad throw by Jayden. It honestly was. We pick everything up really well right here. I'm glad Jayden didn't decide to run. They have a fast spy, a safety right here. Hit Mason Taylor right here. Or this throw to Malik Neighbors just needs to be something that he can catch. And because it wasn't, and because we slipped right here, we have to punt the football. So we get a stop, and up to this point, we had been honestly playing fine offensively. The drops are huge, especially since we had limited possessions. I was able to get a different angle on this play. None of the deep stuff was open. And all of this was open. This was the right decision by Jayden. And now, honestly, this game is close, right? We are not getting outplayed. We are moving the football offensively. And look, give Jayden a lot of credit. Up to this point, he had been playing very, very, very well. All right, we get to here, okay? You just can't play football any better than this, okay? We stretch them out. We trust our 5 guys to block their 5 guys in the box. We catch them on a stunt to the outside, all right? Now, let's see here. Good decision to bang it up in there. Okay. Look at this. Excellent. Excellent stuff to push him forward. If you're going to play 5 men in the box, let's out-physical them. Alrighty, so if you want to see Jayden Daniels in a nutshell as a quarterback, this play is it, right? Because we still end up scoring a touchdown on this drive. And I didn't show you this just for brevity. He made 2 incredible escapes for runs earlier on this drive where the plays were essentially blown up and they should have been sacks or tackles for loss. But ultimately, as a quarterback, you have to be able to read plays from the pocket. And I know this isn't the easiest read in the world here, but we actually get exactly what we want. Jayden's favorite target, which is Malik Neighbors, wide open for a touchdown, okay? Now, we end up hitting this drag to Brian Thomas Jr., but the read here is simple. Look right really quickly to hold these players and then work backside, okay? So, if everybody plays back, you hit this flat route to John Emery in space, okay? But notice 2 players, including the deep safety Antonio Johnson, 27, actually play the running back in the flats. We get exactly what we want. This should be an easy throw to Mason Taylor on the corner route, or as you see right here, Malik is running wide open into the end zone, and look at all that separation. That is a walk-in touchdown. That ball could even have been slightly underthrown. Big miss here, and we hit the underneath route to Brian Thomas Jr. Now, the funny thing about it here is Jayden is actually looking in this direction, okay? This is clear, okay? This is an easy read. We have a tight end on a backer, and the backer is clearly beaten. This player is clearly beaten, and we throw this ball, and it is a good intermediate throw to Brian Thomas Jr. Now, is that the most simple read in the world? No, because the deep safety on that part of the field crashed down on John Emery. But even then, you would like to see a quarterback be able to anticipate one of those 2 things opening up. Okay, but the good news is you don't throw a pick, and we are still able to get a tutty. This makes Jayden's decision on the next drive to not hand this ball to John that much worse. McKinley Jackson, who's been killing us, he runs a stunt. Good job by Charles Turner washing him upfield. I would have played Deli a little bit more left guard. He gets a key block right there. I know it looks like he whiffed, but we want you to go around to the outside. So it was kind of a whiff. You want that to be a little bit cleaner. But that was enough to get John through the middle, and that's why Jayden on the next drive should have just kept giving it to John on the zone read pulls because, you know, they were more so giving us those runs up the gut. So now we actually get to the ensuing fumble. We get a nice stop on 3rd down. And once again, if we hand this football off to John, it is a tutty. I'm not going to show you what happens after the play. This kind of sucks that Jayden's leg got rolled up on. There was a lot of instances where this happened. So that sucks for your health. But yes, on this 3rd and 1, it should have been given to John. You'll see it from the sky angle. Honestly, the play was made right here by Mason Taylor, okay? And let's just say Jayden gives this football. Remember, the last time we were in a zone read situation, John ran this football for an untouched touchdown up the middle. So why not just give it to him again on this 3rd and 1, okay? John is running right through here, and maybe this is a big one because he probably gets past 88 here because you do such a good job blocking this side of the play. So John probably squeezes more into this direction, and Jayden carrying out the fake would have probably gotten this flow to still go out here. Man, if he hands this football off to John, it's a completely different game.
It is what it is. The ball comes out. It's a huge play. That momentum swing, I don't know that we ever really recovered from it.
All right, so remember earlier we missed this throw across the field, this crosser going towards the left sideline. I would have liked to have seen us run it going this direction because I do believe Jayden likes throwing to the right a little bit more. But this time it does open itself up, but the protection breaks down. So we did this a little bit earlier. But the first thing I want you to see is as a quarterback, if you see pre-snap that they are disheveled, take a freaking shot, okay? And this kind of opens itself up. So what we're doing here is we're pulling this player play action fake to the right, and we're bringing somebody else extra to come protect this left side of the line of scrimmage. We get a little unlucky that both players elect to go to the outside here on a rollout to the left, and that kind of blows this up. So we get a little unlucky. I prefer, though, in this situation, just to have a normal protection, right? This is going to take a long time to develop, this deep crosser, a lane staple that works, which is just, a deep over route, okay? Now, something else I didn't like about the design of this play is, once again, wheel routes to our slots all year just have not been there, okay? But the design of this is to help create some space right here, okay? Now, what I would have done if I was JAYDEN, okay? And once again, this is tough, but look, I've spoken to a former quarterback that I do trust on this. What he told me was, if he sees a lot of communication like this, take a shot, right? Because you might get a coverage bust. And I actually do think we do get a coverage bust right here, okay? This safety, who I think this is Jordan Gilbert again from Baton Rouge, let's Malik or Kayshawn right here run by him. So while this is tight coverage, our receiver is behind this DB. We don't take enough deep shots like this, okay? Throw it up. If it is underthrown, we're going to get a pass interference penalty. And if you do throw this up right here, okay, once again, it's tough because this guy's breathing right down your neck. This could have been thrown, okay? Now, normally, on your reads, the play is designed to go to BTJ across the way, okay? It is. This is rarely thrown, this deep pass, but he missed one versus Alabama early on one just right over the top. Normally, this is not where you're going, but if they give it to you, take it, okay? But where this should have gone if we had good protection would have been BTJ. And honestly, all things considered, if you are JAYDEN in the spot, I actually prefer you to roll out to the left. Now, it would have been tough to get around this DT, but he's athletic enough to do it. But JAYDEN, if he does like to roll out, it is to the right. The reason why I prefer you to roll out to the left is because all your receivers are over here to the left. So he only has one option here: throw it at the feet and live to fight another down. Or we get to 3rd and 6, and this is the Emory Jones hold. When you're on the road, you're just not going to get the calls, okay? The sad thing about this is we protected this really well. Good job by John, who in the past few years has had bad pass protection issues. This is their best defensive player, Johnson. Boom. Yeah, wash him out. And look at this rushing lane. Actually, it is a good decision right here by JAYDEN to run on this 3rd and 6. If you're short, we could still go for it on 4th. If you're Emory Jones, you just got to let him go right here. Ticky-tack hold, though. Honestly, that's rarely called. You just got to let him go, though, and not give the referee the chance to make that call. It shouldn't have been called, though. All the 50-50 calls in this game tended to go to Texas A&M. So we pick up here on the 3rd and 16. Not Emory Jones' best rep here. The holding penalty, it's tough for a true freshman to overcome that, right? You feel bad. And JAYDEN does a good job stepping up. It's 3rd and 16. You're not going to pick up all the yardage, okay? Once you see this guy coming down, reset your feet in the pocket. If he would have just reset his feet, he would have had Jack Best right there for a first down, or Jaray for a first down. JAYDEN's inability to throw over the middle and lack of wanting to throw over the middle hurts him big time. We have just not hit dig routes over the middle all year. And, it's one of the weaknesses of JAYDEN. Trust me, I've been very positive of JAYDEN, but right there, you had an opportunity to reset your feet, make a play, and get us out of a bind there. We had a bad call. But that's the thing. All these bad calls went against us. Championship teams on the road in a spot like this overcome those calls. And, I would have rather you just run it in that spot, and maybe we could set up a manageable fourth, but instead we're kind of sort of forced to punt right there. So now we get back defensively, and it's just the same thing, okay? Once again, this was not smash mouth football. Did they out-physical us? Yes, but all these runs, you see it's a delay. It's not just handoff power up the middle. They told Achane to read these running lanes, okay? And that's exactly what happens here. We're actually filling everything fine. We force him to bounce. We just need Baskerville to scrape off and make this play, or Joe Fouché make this play, and Baskerville is just slow to get out there, okay? And they get a really nice run here on first. So, what would I have done differently defensively? I wouldn't have kept blitzing our guys into the line of scrimmage, because what they were doing were these delayed handoffs. Once again, it's not when you're in pistol, it allows a running back to go downhill, and it also allows him to see which way he actually wants to cut. Okay? So, this play is designed to go here. Mekhi Wingo sells out into this gap, so they just cut back right behind it and just get north and south. And you see all these guys just washed out of there. Just really poor adjusting right there. Greg Penn slow to get over there. And, man, I was really shocked. Now, what I would have done is I would have gone tight front in that position, because tight front does a really good job of just holding those interior gaps and just spilling everything to the outside, and that would have given them a little bit of a different look. But what we decided to do was to continue to stay in what was a 4-down look. All right, this has been a weak spot for us coming out of the timeout. Fourth quarter versus Arkansas, huge play. First play of the fourth quarter versus Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs 30-yard play. Just a weird observation towards this back half of the season. This play has just killed us, right? And now what they're going to do is take a shot. Okay, we're killing you with the running game. Let's see if we can get a slot fade on what has been a tough year for Sage Ryan. Now, I actually don't put this on Sage Ryan. This should be on Greg Brooks, okay? This ball does hang in the air. He does decide to go for the big hit, or where the flight of the ball was actually going. If you're a safety, play the ball. Don't play the player, okay? If you're going to play the player, knock him out. You've got to jar that football loose, okay? Instead, he goes where the ball is landing, which is what you should never do, especially in the end zone, right? Because, yes, it could go through and you make a diving pick, but worst case scenario is you're not affecting the actual receiver or the ball and his ability to catch this touchdown. So you'll see it right here. Muhammad, this actually in theory should have been offensive pass interference. So Muhammad is actually holding Sage Ryan's left arm right here, okay? But honestly, Sage could have still timed this a little bit better. This ball is so perfectly thrown. You still got a chance to tip that ball, right? So Sage still needs to make this play. Greg Brooks still needs to have a better flight on the ball, but that's more just a really good wide receiver making a play. All right, so their backs did a good job reading when to bounce. Bad decision right here by John. Oh, boy. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's there. This is there for a big gainer. And John essentially doesn't feel it out. It's a tough feel right here. The design of this play is to go through here. Their backs did a good job bouncing into the space all night. Oh, we missed one right there. A big one. Go to second down here, and they get a sack. Once again, they were getting good pressure on us. They got the edge quite a bit on Emory Jones, which forced Jayden to step up. Right here, you either got to throw this to Malik right now. He had a chance to. He decided not to. Or what you can do, they did have a QB spy, LB Overton. Reset your feet, okay? And allow Kayshawn to get on this corner route, okay? This does eventually open itself up. It's a tough throw. DB did have outside leverage on him, but that would have been there. Still, we take a sack that we probably didn't need to right there. All right, so now it's 3rd and 15, and this just gets into scramble drill. They are playing 2-man under. So once JAYDEN sees that it's 2-man under, he would like to think that he could run for it. But they also have a QB spy here, all right? We outrun it. Now, they did call a holding penalty right here on Frazier going up against McKinley Jackson. Once again, that guy just destroyed us all night. JAYDEN ends up getting hurt right here, okay? He does decide to run. Now, look at where the line of scrimmage is. This is, once again, tough, okay? You're asking a lot out of JAYDEN right here. But keep your eyes downfield, and Jure peels off, and it's there, all right? Tutty on just a simple throw. Now, it would have been called back for holding, but instead of, taking the throw, you actually get hit low, and you get hurt. Now, McKinley Jackson, not necessarily in good faith, doing that while somebody's hurt. Oh, well, no love lost between these two. I'm not going to show it, but 24 was talking trash to our players while a player of ours was hurt. Not the classiest thing, but who cares? Boom! I'm looking at you. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you're watching this on a live chat, if you're actually enjoying this. And, I hope you guys subscribe, ring the bell. Please take advantage of our Black Friday sales. That's a good way to help out the channel. We got Patreon. And obviously, Venmo, Cash App. Sometimes our film studies do get demonetized. And, I really do appreciate all the support from some of our top super chatters, okay? Now, could Sage Ryan have made a play on this? Yes. Should he have made a play on this as a former 5-star and a DB that we are trusting to make a play in man coverage on a fade, the same play that they had the touchdown on the play before? Yes, we are trusting him to make that play. But there's layers to this. So, let's start off with what I didn't like about this defensive call, okay? I have seen, what's his name? Arnett for Mississippi State. He did this versus us. I'm not the biggest fan of this delayed safety blitz, okay? A lot of their throws have been quick game kind of stuff. So I get doing something like this if you're going up against a quarterback, let's say like Bryce Young, who likes to buy time and, allow things to open themselves up. But not a player like Connor Weidman, who's been playing fast. Hate this call. The second thing is I feel Harold Perkins when he's playing this interior rush. I like him just over the top of this DT in this spot. Because if you're doing this and you're floating the idea that he might sink back into coverage, they're smarter than this. They know we're probably going to bring Perk here on this 3rd down. So, yes, our guy, Sage Ryan, with inside leverage on a fade, he's got to make this play. But here's why you can't just focus on end results, okay? Because it was predictable, Perk gets, honestly, thrown to the ground, all right? We decide to twist Makai Wingo to the inside. Not a big fan of that either. Why? Because, well, if there is one thing about Perk's game up to this point, he is young. And if there is a twist to the inside from this player, you've got to make sure you stay wide, especially if we're playing man coverage behind it. Because if you see right here, Connor Weidman could have ran for this, all right? So even though, and maybe, we could take this as a lesson to JAYDEN. Even sometimes if you have the ability to run for it, throw it. Let's see if we can get our receiver to have the opportunity to make a play. We've honestly struggled with slot fades all year. And honestly, if he would have decided to run it, he would have still been running. Like, it would have been a tough play for us to stop him. Baskerville would have had to run all the way there. He's running for that easy. So he had multiple options on that 3rd and 6. Hate the safety blitz call right there. But honestly, we need Sage to make this play. Get your hand in there, jar it loose. Something else I think could be coached up here, a good learning moment, is there's no reason to try and catch this football, okay? See how he tries to actually catch this ball? Swat it. Just stick your arm in there and get violent and make sure we don't try and catch it, right? Because if you catch it, you're falling, and it's essentially a punt, all right? So you'll see it right here. Don't try and catch this, okay? See how he's cupping his hands like he's trying to catch it? We're not trying to catch this ball. Punch it. Just swipe your arm. You actually played it fine, okay? The receiver is going to have better catching ability than you in that spot. He's got leverage. He can see the ball all the way through. Just swipe it, okay? And if you would have done that, that probably would have been incomplete. So, once again, Kerry Cooks and Robert Steeples have been really good all year long. We've got to just force the incompletion in that spot. 3rd and 3, and it's the same thing again. Pistol formation, allow them to over-penetrate here and just cut back against the grain. I don't know why we couldn't adjust to this, okay? What I would tell my contained defenders to do is to play this a little bit slower. Don't crash down as hard on this, because Achane has an amazing ability to stop, and he actually gives ground here to get around this guy, B.J. Ojolari, and this is just a tough play for Baskerville to make. It was just too much of this all game long, and we just could not adjust to it. It's a very bizarre thing because, normally if you hand the football off to the running back in short yardage situations, they are crashing into the line of scrimmage. But A&M said, look, we see LSU likes to squeeze everything tight. All day they were just bouncing it. So it's still the same thing in pistol, just a variation of it, okay? So you run to the right, and all they were doing, okay, and on a macro scale, they were squeezing all of this in. This just made no sense, and I'm shocked that House just couldn't get out of it. We just kept blitzing our guys into the mush, and all A&M was instructed to do, think of it like an accordion, right? You're squeezing it in, and then you're pulling it back out, okay? So, see, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys are kind of squeezed in. Now, Achane is able to read this, okay? Do I want to bang it up in here, okay? Or do I want to bounce it? Or do I want to be patient and allow these blocks to work itself out? All right, and you'll see it again right here. I would not have kept just running our backers into the mush, okay? And honestly, we had a tendency to do this in the spring, right? Just get our backers to run up in there, and all you're doing is just allowing them to overexert themselves in the middle and just patiently wait for plays to develop, and that's why you had wide open rushing lanes like this one. It's tough to adjust to it, honestly. It really, really is, but, we just didn't do it, and I would have done a few things differently. Alrighty, so, the game's over, and they're playing way softer on defense. When they're up by 21, I don't know why so many teams continue to do this, but it is what it is. JAYDEN sees that this is man coverage, so it's smart to run it. It just is, right? If they're playing man coverage with a lot of safeties behind it, all their backs are turned. We got to take advantage of this space. You don't really see it on the screen, but I'll show you a screenshot after this play is over. Dre did something really cheeky. He stuck his hands out like if he was catching it, and it forced a DB to not make the tackle right here. Is that targeting? I've seen it called, or at least some form of a roughing the passer. It should have been a first down at 15, but we weren't getting the 50-50 calls. Just for brevity, I'm not going to show you some of the throws that JAYDEN did make on this drive. He finally hit a corner a corner route to Malik Neighbors. That was really nice. We had some short stuff to Mason in the flat and Noah in the flat. We actually missed an assignment here. Bradford passed this off thinking Emory Jones was going to pick this up. This is just honestly a really good blitz call. We'd rather get the interior guy and let the outside guy go free. I don't know why Denbrock keeps thinking that this wheel motion with Mason Taylor is going to work. It has not worked all year. This play, when we're essentially scissoring, this guy going here and Mason Taylor up to sideline, it has not worked yet. And we've done it a lot. I don't know why we continue to do it. This is just Jayden doing a freaky thing. I mean, this is just freaking incredible quarterback play. He's a special runner of the football, sometimes too much. He makes all these guys miss, and he falls forward for all these extra yardage. Good stuff. As we mentioned, kind of bittersweet. Remember that 3rd-and-1 zone read pull? Well, we handed off. Good block by Deli to wash this guy all the way out. And John is going through there. Okay? Now we get to the 2-point conversion call. So I've got a lot of questions about this. And, from Steve, from a lot of PHLers, just everybody in general, because I am a very aggressive person. I don't mind when coaches go for 2 when they're down by a lot of points. I prefer, though, to go for 2 when you are down 8 compared to when you're down 15, okay?
The analytics say go for 2. So if you don't get it there, you've got another chance to go for 2 and still have the opportunity to, obviously tie the game up.
So the analytics do tell you to go for 2 because eventually you would like to go for 2 to where touchdowns and extra points will win you the game in regulation. This is just tough quarterbacking from Jayden. All right, this isn't open in the flat. They're playing it, all right? This isn't open to Malik. This isn't open to BTJ. But this is open in the back of the end zone here to Kayshawn, okay? It needs to be thrown, and he is looking directly at Kayshawn. Now, there is a quarterback spy, LB Overton, in his window. But this ball needs to be what's called top shelved, right? It needs to be thrown high and towards the back of the end zone to where only Kayshawn can get it. He caught a 2-point conversion versus Auburn in 2020, top shelf. He caught a top shelf touchdown versus Tennessee earlier this year. Jayden decides to not rip it, and by not ripping it, he ends up getting himself hurt, okay? For the second time in this game, he gets himself hurt on a play that could have been thrown, all right? So it sucks. You get rolled under right there. And yeah, it could have been prevented. It sucks. He's banged up, but give Jayden a lot of credit. He's a tough son of a gun, and he got right back out there. Bam! I'm looking at you. Yes, I want to shout out Steve, Zach, Van, Jared, John Sibley, Vic, so many different people that have really helped grow this channel with their donations, and I know I'm missing so many different people, and this is going to come off really harsh because this is garbage time. It is 2nd and 15, but this portion of the field, whether it was this part of the field is where Jayden was just cursed, right? He missed the throw earlier. He fumbled the ball about where this part of the field is. 2nd and 15, we get a penalty. We are running 4 verts. So Malik is going, Mason's going. You don't see it here. Kayshawn's going, and we got BTJ going on the outside. Got Max Protect here. So Jayden is looking to the left to see if this opens up. Okay? You can't fit that in right there. Potentially you could if you anticipate this right here. So pre-snap, it looks like they were in cover 2, but they roll into cover 1 with what's called a robber right here, okay? So could this ball have been fit into Kayshawn? Maybe. It would have had to have been a laser. Could this ball have been back-shouldered right here to BTJ? Maybe, okay? But this is where the quarterback gets really sour, okay? You're looking left, you're looking left. The good thing about looking left on all verts is something normally opens itself up to the backside, and it does. Oh, man. No need to roll out right here. It's all verts. Just work backside and hit Mason, and he is walking into the end zone for a touchdown. And I just don't know where JAYDEN was going with this progression, right? This is never really going to be open. This is going to be open a lot. And maybe he doesn't throw this because he intercepted a ball versus Florida in a similar spot later in the game, and it was saved because they had a roughing the passer penalty. But it's 4 verts. On 4 verts, this tight end is normally where a lot of things are going to be open. It's still there. And we decide to throw it to Malik. Once again, I know we had the legendary stuff versus Alabama, but if you take that game out, you do begin to question the chemistry that Mason and JAYDEN has. The game is moving very fast. Wave your arm. Wave your arm. Say, I want the football. I am the crunch time fourth quarter go-to guy. I'm here. Let him do something to help catch his attention. Everything's happening really fast. So just a massive, massive miss in that spot. In 15, okay? We got to treat this like it's a 2-down thing. They, of course, have 2 QB spies. So they're like, look, we're going to force you to make a play. Throw it right here, okay? You hit him on his upfield shoulder. Mason might actually make that. At least he is making this a manageable fourth. He doesn't rip it. I don't know what he was thinking, okay? So instead he works backside to this dig, and this is one of the few times that this dig just wasn't there. 7 makes a good play on the ball. Not BTJ's best game. You would like to see him still make that catch. Was it PI? We weren't getting the 50-50 calls all game, so nothing was going to change here. 4th down and 15, it's an all-or-nothing play. So if this was a corner route to Mason, maybe that's a whole shot. Nope. That's not open. So good decision by JAYDEN to not tuck and run. You're not getting that yardage. And then he actually, when he absolutely needs to do it, he will throw with anticipation. We saw it in the fourth quarter versus Alabama. You notice it's tough to see, but when he actually releases this football is right when Jure is turning back into the space. So one of JAYDEN's better throws while he's getting hit, and we just don't make the catch, okay? Good, Jure normally brings that down, but that's just a kind of night. Last year versus Texas A&M, he made the very difficult fourth quarter catches, and this year it wasn't the same. So it was just their night. So I want to show you this play. I know it's like not really anything, but I want to show you right here, because we were late in getting somebody in, that disallowed us to have another guy in the middle right here. And they tried to do the same thing. And look at what happens when everybody just doesn't get scrunched in the middle. So because Jaquelin Roy came on the field late, it actually helped us to defend this counter run, right? We played it a little bit slower. And I know I didn't show some of the stops to start the second half, but still, it goes to show you that that's all A&M did. Now, let's break this down. Starting off here with, we did a poll last night. What was the biggest reason as to why LSU lost this game? Now, before I get into my final thoughts on this game, I'm going to keep saying what I've been saying over and over again. I'm going to share the exact same take that every other LSU fan has up to this point. I am very freaking happy that we're still going to Atlanta. We've exceeded expectations, and so on and so on and so on. There were a few things though that shocked me a little bit. Okay, so right now in the backdrop, normally I show you the LSU offensive statistics, but what really blew me away were Texas A&M's offensive the statistics. They only had 2 players that really killed us. Achain with 30-plus carries. So A&M was allowed to really empty the tank with a guy who had been missing games with injury. They knew it was his last game. So it did allow him to basically Super Bowl workhorse their best player. They would never give Achane 38 carries in a game. He was that hot. And once again, it was just one of those things where, they just out-schemed us in a very major way. Now, Matt House made some good adjustments early to get some stops in the third quarter. But, man, when you look at how few players for Texas A&M actually did something, it does make you feel a little sick to your stomach, right? Because if we were to lose this game, let's not let Achane beat us. Let's force the true freshman quarterback to beat us. And we honestly didn't really make him make any difficult throws. Now, he did make some impressive throws, but, the Donovan Green, sidearm touchdown throw was actually just a really well-played design. And obviously, you give Wigman a lot of credit for making, a big-time play, getting that football around B.J. Ojulari. But, I'm not mad at Matt House because this honestly was his first objectively bad game. So what? You got lit up by Tennessee. Everybody basically has, not named Georgia. And honestly, Matt House was put in some really bad spots versus Tennessee due to special teams mistakes. So I really don't blame that game on him. And outside of that game, obviously the Florida second half, he would have liked to have been a little bit better. But Matt House has been the best defensive coordinator in the SEC. So going into this year, this is what I had to say about Matt House. There were going to be some games where the defense just wasn't going to play well, and he's just not going to have a good day at the office calling defensive schemes. This was the only game where that was the case. Quite literally the only game. Could he have done some things better in some of these other games? Sure. But he was phenomenal throughout the course of this year, and I will not allow, even though I was very critical of what LSU's defense did in this game, you can't really blame this on Matt House because he got us out of so many binds, such as the Auburn game and the Arkansas game. So yes, this wasn't Matt House's best day at the office, but the truth still remains the same. Championship teams are able to overcome bad defensive performances with great offensive performances. By the way, college football in the modern game is about what? Well, it's about offense. So make plays on offense. And we did make some, but we did not make enough, okay? I do think Cortez Hankton and Brian Kelly are going to have a long discussion about the wide receiver rotation. Man, the drops were so huge by Kyron Lacey because there weren't many possessions in this game. So normally LSU this year in their big games, they've had about 10 or 11, possessions per game, sometimes a little bit more. In this game versus Texas A&M, they really only had 9-ish good possessions. 2 of them were ended by a drop made by the same player. Now, the first drop was a little bit more excusable. It's early in the game. Blood is flowing. But the second drop was just so freaking massive because not only did it force us to kick a field goal, it also gave Texas A&M a lot of time for them to drive down the field and get a touchdown to have a 7-point lead going into the half. And they got the ball back to start the second half. So the drops by Kyron Lacey were huge. We shouldn't downplay that. But you also have to question, why was he put in those high leverage situations? Now, once again, that play was designed to go to Kyron Lacey, the rollout to the right, but we did audible into it. So that is a very important fact about that play. But, it was massive. There's no other way around it. Still, though, JAYDEN had an opportunity to go out there and win us this game. When our defense sucked, when his guys were dropping passes, he was still in position to go out there and win us the game. The calls weren't going our way. There were 3 really bad calls that just did not go our way. Our quarterback, who, let's be honest, has been really big for us in big spots, did have the fumble. He did have a few missed opportunities throwing the football, as we pointed out throughout the film study. Honestly, the fumble was the biggest one. But If you were to guess what Jayden Daniels' QBR was in this game, you would be shocked to hear that it was actually in the 80s. So for the most part, he was actually really good. The fumble, though, was just so massive. And, could Denbrock have called better plays? I thought Denbrock called an all right game. I would have done some things differently for sure. Run some deep crossers to the right. I think Jayden does prefer throwing the football to the right side of the field. So now, let's just get into Jayden's overall performance, and then we'll get into a few Brian Kelly things. Always at the end, we try our best to give as honest of an evaluation on the quarterback position, okay? First half, Jayden was actually really good. You can't blame him for the drops. He actually checked into the Kyron Lacy play, which is just amazing football IQ. I thought this was one of the better games of him checking into different plays, checking into protections, different play calls. But, as Brian Kelly mentioned, and as a lot of you will see, the momentum really did shift on the fumble. And I'm not so concerned about the fumble mistake. Yes, it was very massive. Yes, he should have handed the football there to John Emery, especially considering, giving the ball in that spot had been very productive for us. That's the second time we have fumbled the mesh point in back-to-back road games with John at running back, and Jayden just not being careful with the football. It is entirely on Jayden in that spot. I'm not so much worried about that. Okay, mistakes happen, all right? But it is the macro on the third down drive after this. Jayden had an opportunity after a really bad penalty call on Emory Jones. You guys saw the play. Did Jack Besh on a dig. 3rd and 16. He had time to step up in the pocket and hit either him or Jure. They were wide open over the middle of the field. And he just didn't hit it, right? And ultimately, you've got to hit these explosive plays in the pocket. And Jayden, as you guys saw at the end with the miss to Mason Taylor, I know it was garbage time, but you have to be able to see it. Connor Wigman did a few times, instead of running it, threw it up for his guys to make plays, and they made plays. Jayden versus Florida, threw it up for guys to make plays. They made plays. They weren't the absolute most open, but he threw it up and they made plays. When we really needed to, when push came to shove against Alabama, fourth quarter, lights were the brightest, Jayden ripped some unbelievable deep passes. He just didn't do it in this game at all. And some of it was passing concept related, but, I do think, Jayden has won us a lot of games, right? The Alabama game. And it's important to have a nuanced conversation about this. I had to block somebody on the live chat last night because they kept calling Jayden Daniels a garbage quarterback over and over and over again, and he is not that, right? You are not a garbage quarterback on a 9-3 SEC West championship team with, a lot of changes on your offensive line, okay? But it's important to be nuanced here. You do have to wonder if he is a quarterback that can win games with the vertical passing game when you need him to in a spot like this one, right? When your defense isn't playing great, when your offensive line isn't playing the best, when you have guys dropping passes, okay? I think of a game, let's rewind the clock on another 2-loss magical run team, and it's the 07 LSU team, right? I know we compare 2019 LSU to now, but really this team is the 07 National Championship team, right? Just finding miraculous ways to win, okay? And that game, if you remember, Matt Flynn, I think not once in his career did he ever have a 300-yard passing game until then. Obviously, he had the game-winning throw to Demetrius Byrd. He made that big-time throw, but in that game, Terrence Tolliver, Demetrius Byrd, Early Doucette, and Brandon LaFell, who actually, his drop, that all four of them had really bad drops, and Brandon LaFell's drop was deflected up in the air, and he kind of like tossed it to the DB, and he intercepted it. Matt Flynn still, from the pocket, made such huge, massive throws for us to find a way to win the game outside of the Demetrius Byrd play. Our defense didn't play the absolute best. Our offensive line wasn't playing the absolute best. But, he made those plays when things around him weren't going our way. And in this spot, in this game versus Texas A&M, JAYDEN led the drive to get us to within 17-17. And then after that, he fell apart. And he had an opportunity to win it. Possessions were at a premium. All the first half stuff wasn't on him. He was pretty good in the first half. But, at some point you got to start hitting some vertical stuff. And you look at our yard per play numbers, they're not good, right? We rarely get over 6 yards per play. We are an offense that floats around that 5.5-ish yard per play mark in a lot of games that we play. And you look at the yard per play games where we did get over 6, we were getting vertical in the passing game. So, I do think JAYDEN gives you a really high floor as a team, as a leader, as a gritty guy, as someone that doesn't get hurt. He has a lot of great intangibles. He obviously is truly one of the most spectacular runners of the ball at the quarterback position we've honestly ever seen. But there are some things that you would have liked to have seen up to this point as a quarterback from the pocket that you would like to have seen to be better at this point in his career. So he's still very good. He still should be the starter. I don't think there's any questions with that. But, at the same time, he does have some flaws, and, they did show in this game. But, to be fair, his QBR actually was really high. It was in the mid-80s. So, overall, a solid performance with some really crucial mistakes in the third quarter when he had an opportunity to win the game. Hit Jack Bech on the 3rd and 15, for instance. Going back to the Matt Flynn play. When there were drops, he would find a way to still, lead us back. Take the 3rd and 15 play. You run for a first down. There was a holding penalty. So now it's 3rd and 15. He had the opportunity to hit Jack Bech or Jure over the middle. He tried to tuck and run at the last second. He tried to throw it, and it just, hit the dirt. It's tough, right? Now, let's get into Brian Kelly. So much of your coaching scheme is your coordinators, right? There's only so much you can do. But special teams, this was another tough outing with the kickoffs that went out of bounds. Once again, I excuse Matt House, and Mike Dimbrot could have done a better job. But yes, I do think Brian Kelly just, normally his press conferences are very detailed. This game honestly shocked him, and it shocked me as well. And I think it shocked a lot of us, and most notably, it probably even shocked Texas A&M and their fans because he just didn't see anything like this. But this is what, college football is now. There are a lot of these shocking results. There are no longer just any bad teams. And I think the elite teams are going to struggle to stay elite because there's just so many decent teams, right? You would have never guessed that Texas A&M was by far the team that was the biggest disappointment in the SEC West, and you never would have guessed that LSU was the only team in the SEC West that exceeded expectations this year. So that was really the big juxtaposition of this game, right? You would have guessed by the result that A&M would have been the team that was ecstatic about their season, when it's the exact opposite. We're the team that is thrilled with what we accomplished over the macro, over the entire season, where, this one game, A&M would have rather lost this game and be in our position than vice versa. So it was just a very, very, very shocking result. And sometimes, I know I said we could have done this, we could have done that. I bring up this point all the time, and I know a lot of you just think I'm a jersey number snob. But look, ask any recruit this question. You could just see it over the years. Single-digit jersey numbers are prime real estate. Everybody wants them on both sides of the football, right? Their single-digit players on both sides of the ball were huge, and our single-digit players on both sides of the ball, while there were some flashes of excellent, I will say Malik was my highest graded player on offense and just my highest graded player for LSU in this game. Overall, our single digits didn't make the same plays that their single digits did, okay? And I think, especially considering LSU has had most of their great players wear that prestigious single digit, number, whatever it may be, let's save those for guys that are big time players, okay? I just think that, it's 3 years in a row, Justin Jefferson's number 2 is it's not been, and Mekhi Garner's had a phenomenal year, but offensively, I want that number to be on a Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, it's just the truth. It signifies that's your primetime player, that's our guy, and their single digits played their best games of the season. So, comment down below your thoughts on today's film study. On to Atlanta once again. I'm very happy with this team. I'm very happy with how hard they fought. They did not give up versus Texas A&M. This team continued to play very hard. So, yeah, I mean, just tip your hat sometimes to the other team, okay? It is Power Hour LSU. Bam! Yeah, man. Whew. Tough game for our true freshman as well. But we'll fight back. Let's go beat Georgia. Let's go. And tonight, we're doing some gumbo. Let's